When we're working out word problems that use inequalities, every problem is going to be a bit different from the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through 3 different examples and I'm going to outline everything in the paragraph that's given to us in order to make our inequality, which will look like an equation in the end. This problem gives us the following information. To rent a certain meeting room, a college charges a reservation fee of $35 and an additional fee of $7.90 per hour. Anytime you see this phrase, per hour, it means that this number is going to be multiplied by a variable. In this case, a variable that represents hours. The film club wants to spend at most $82.40 on renting the meeting room. What are the possible amounts of time for which they could rent the meeting room? This problem specifically wants us to use the variable t to represent the number of hours the meeting room is rented. Then it wants us to actually solve our inequality. Now to set it up, we're going to take this sentence by sentence. In the first sentence, they tell us that they charge a reservation fee of $35. They use the word and an additional fee, so we're going to add this to this fee right here. Now this is $7.90 per hour. So we're going to write that as 7.9. If you wanted to, you could write 7.90. But because it says per hour, we're going to multiply this number by the number of hours, which is represented by t, because that's what the problem tells us to use. So we have 35 plus 7.90 t, and this isn't necessarily equal, but I'm going to go ahead and put an equal sign down for now. But this is going to be about equal to 82.40. So if the problem wanted us to work with an equation, this would be my setup. The problem is it's not an equation. They're not equal to each other. This problem tells us the film club wants to spend at most $82.40. That means $82 is the maximum amount of money that you're willing to spend. So if $82.40 is the maximum amount of money you want to spend, you either want to spend $82.40 or you want to spend less than that. In terms of our inequality signs, we want to spend less than or equal to. And that's a key part of the problem, is making sure you use the right inequality sign. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what else you do in the problem, you're going to get the problem wrong in the end. So again, at most they're spending $82, which means they're going to spend either $82, which is why I have that equal sign, or they're going to spend less than $82.40. So that's my setup. And after this, it's just a matter of solving the inequality. So we basically treat this as an equation. We look at what's happening to t. Here's my t. If I zoom out a little bit more, we see 790 is being multiplied by t. And if we look a little bit outside of that, we see this 35 that's off on its own. So my first step in solving this inequality is to get rid of this 35. Right now it's a positive 35, so we're going to subtract it so that it goes to 0. We want to get rid of it by subtracting it by itself. What we do to one side of the inequality, we need to do to the other side as well. So over here, we're also going to do minus 35. On the left side, the 35's cross out and it leaves us with 7.90 t. We still have a less than or equal to symbol. Now we need to do the math. We need to go ahead and subtract 82.40 minus 35. When we do that, we end up getting 47.40. Again, our goal is to get t by itself. So here's t. What's happening to t? Well, t is being multiplied by 7.90. So we're going to do the opposite of multiplying by 7.90, which is dividing by 7.90. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. On the left-hand side, the 7.90s go away, and it leaves us with t is less than or equal to. Then we got to do the division. And you are allowed to use a calculator for this problem. So you can just put this in the calculator, and you end up getting 6. That means that the total number of hours that the meeting room is rented is 6 hours or less. So the number of hours is less than or equal to 6 hours. And that would be our final answer. For this problem, we want to compare the different prices of each of the companies. We have company A and company B. We know that company A charges $100 and allows for unlimited mileage. Company B, on the other hand, They charge $55 and they charge 90 cents for every mile driven after that. So company A is a one-time fee and company B has this ongoing rate. They charge you $55 to begin with and only 90 cents for each extra mile. The problem then asks, for what mileage will company A charge less than company B? So we know we're going to be comparing company A to company B using a less than symbol. The last thing the problem tells us is to use M for the number of miles that are actually driven. To actually set up our problem, we want to literally compare the prices for company A and company B. And we're looking for when company A is less than company B. So we're literally going to use a less than symbol to represent this. The only thing left is to substitute these words that I have written with their respective costs. So company A charges $100 and that's it. Company B charges $55 plus 90 cents. So we can write 0.90 for every mile driven. Anytime we have this for every in our word problems, we're going to multiply that by a variable. And in this case, we're going to use M for our variable. So we're going to write this as 0.90 M, where even though we don't write the multiplication symbol, this 90 cents is being multiplied by M just because they're next to each other. So this whole thing is my setup. This is my inequality. The only thing left is to solve it. So we want to get the M by itself. We want to figure out how many miles are driven. What's going on with M? M is being multiplied by 0.90, but this whole thing is being added to 55. So the first thing we want to do is get rid of this 55. Right now, this 55 is a positive value, so we want to subtract it from both sides of the inequality. If we subtract 55 from the left side, we end up getting 45. We still have this less than symbol. And on the right hand side, the 55's cross out. Now we're just left with the 0.90 M. We're still trying to get M by itself. So what's going on with this M value? Well, this M is being multiplied by 90 cents or 0.90. If it's being multiplied by 0.90, all we need to do is divide both sides by 0.90. When we do that, they cancel out on the right hand side and leave us with M. We have a less than symbol, and if we plug in 45 divided by 0.90 in the calculator, we end up with 50. The very last step in the problem would be to rewrite this so that the M goes first. So notice that right now our M goes second, it's on the right hand side. But a more proper way to write this out is to mirror this whole thing. So we write the M first, and instead of leaving this as a less than symbol, we change it to a greater than symbol. We have a 50 afterwards. So our final answer would be M is greater than 50. This problem talks about the monthly fees for having a phone service. It says that Frank pays a monthly fee of $11. Then he pays an additional 7 cents per minute. Keep in mind that anytime we see this per minute, it means we're going to multiply this value by a variable. The least, so they use the term least. The least he has been charged in a month is $81.63. What are the possible number of minutes he has used his phone in a month? So we need to set up our inequality. We know Frank pays a monthly bill of $11, so we're going to write 11, and he pays an additional. So we're going to add this by 0.07 per minute. That means we need to multiply this 0.07 by the number of minutes. If we look back at this problem, they tell us to use M to represent the number of minutes. So we're going to multiply this by M. We know we're comparing this to $81.63. And the question is, what inequality sign do we use? We know we're not going to use an equal sign. But if we go back up here, it says that this is the least he has been charged with. So if it's the least he has been charged with, we're going to say that this is less than, and in this case, we're actually going to put this equal sign because he has paid $81.63, but he's also paid less than that amount. So we have a less than or equal to 81.63. Now that we have our inequality set up, we need to solve the problem. Look at what's happening to m. M is being multiplied by the 0.07, but it's also being added to this 11. So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of this 11. How do you get rid of an 11? You could think of it as a positive 11. We're going to go ahead and subtract it by 11. What we do to one side, we do to the other. So on the other side of the inequality, I'm also going to put a minus 11. On the left-hand side, these 11s cancel out, and we're left with 0.07m. We still have a less than or equal to symbol. Now we need to subtract 81.63 by 11, and when we do that, we end up with 70.63. We're still trying to get m by itself. M is being multiplied by 0.07, so we're going to divide both sides by 0.07. On the left-hand side, the 0.07s go away, and it leaves us with an m. So we have m is less than or equal to whatever 70.63 divided by 0.07 is. If we put this in the calculator, we end up getting 1009. So we end up getting 1009 minutes per month. So m is less than or equal to 1009.